someone, you never really forget them.
Who could have polluted the entire Earth?
September 21st, 1945. That was the night I died.
Anger of the old reflects the anger of the earth. The earth knows it's wrong for us to survive.
Concrete roads everywhere I go. But I had no idea my crystal was so incredibly powerful.
There's another curse. Make all your bacon burn.
Totoro? Is that what your name is?
It's time for Argo City Podcast to jump into the world of Studio Ghibli.
And we have returned!
And we are back with another Studio Ghibli movie, which
Yay!
you might have been able to tell
because of my new beautiful intro that I spent an hour and a half making, struggling to find clips, editing out the music. It was a nightmare. But I'm so happy with it!
It's one of those just fun things that we do. And it's actually... You've probably heard it a couple times now, but it's getting retroactively inserted into all of the previous Studio Ghibli stuff as well. Yay! This one's going to come out a while from now. You know what? We just looked at the schedule. We watched this Monday night, and then we saw, oh crap! Friday night, there's actually a theatrical screening of this up at the Case Western Film Society.
How did we miss it?
I am so upset because we didn't see it until way too late, and it's like, no, I can't do it again. But
No.
That would have been so much better, and I got to keep better tabs on that because that's a fun trip and it's a fun thing.
Yes.
Also, again, if you're in Cleveland, it's the best kept secret in the area. So
this week we watched through Nausica Valley of the Wind, which is one of Miyazaki's earliest films, according to the timeline.
Okay. Well, and thing is, we're watching a pure version of this, whereas when it was originally released, this thing was butchered for theatrical.
Yeah, this is the first one, 1984.
Okay. So this was butchered and re-edited to try and make it into an action film. Like, to better fit the ideas of anime at that time.
What? No!
I mean, that's what people were thinking of. They were thinking of anime monsters or anime sci-fi, like the Robotech stuff we've been watching, or like the Bubblegum Crisis stuff that we saw. So they were trying to make it fit that model, and that's not what Miyazaki does.
No.
That's not what this is.
His stuff is so much more nature-focused and so much more like... Well, as I said, we're living out in nature. We're living out in the everyday life.
Well, and it's also a lot of human drama. It's just there's a lot more going on there. This particular nature, this particular environment, this is wild. Like, we opened up and I'm like, my first notes were, are we on a different planet? Or... Okay, wait, no. Okay, future. Okay, far-flung future, like post-apocalyptic future, before post-apocalyptic future was cool and young adult stuff.
Yeah, and it's like, this... I don't even know how to describe it. We're like way in the future. The Earth had been completely taken over by pollution. We have small groups of humans, like, all spread throughout the world, and you know what's interesting?
I mean, it's practically alien. It might as well be.
Yeah, and... The whole thing, like, what I found really interesting, because it just made me think of it as you were talking, compared to Miyazaki's focus on good nature, we're man versus nature here. We are against bad nature. It's like the opposite of what he makes.
We kind of are. You know, there's actually a whole subgenre of horror that is man versus nature. Mm-hmm. I don't like those most of the time. This is a little different. This is very... buggy.
Yeah, we have a lot of insects here.
And that's really what the design on a lot of the characters, a lot of the monsters and stuff like that. It's very insectoid. I'm not a big insect person. I am particularly arachnophobic, although these look a little bit more like the little pill bugs. There's far, far too many legs and eyes, and armored plates, but, you know, we call them the Ohm.
Yes.
the thing that strikes me about these creatures is I almost feel like Miyazaki is setting up anime for the next couple of decades.
What do you mean?
Like, a lot of these designs feel very groundbreaking. They feel like they're very original, and that we'd see other monsters and creature effects take their lead from this later on. It feels fresh to me here, especially knowing when this is, knowing what the era is, knowing what the year is.
Yeah, because I don't have a whole lot of context for a lot of the anime during this particular era, but man, this
it's interesting to talk about that too, because like you've grown up in an era where anime is common.
Yeah.
People know what that is. And I grew up in an era where you knew what this was if you went to Star Trek conventions, maybe. Where there was no anime on TV, except maybe really early on Sunday morning or Saturday morning, and we'd get one thing, like we'd get Robotech, or we'd get Gatchaman, or we'd get, later on, Voltron really helped to popularize it. You couldn't find it. You couldn't buy it. Like the piracy in anime in a pre-internet world.
If you think it's bad now, just think about how bad it was back then.
I mean, it was copying tape after tape after tape. And there would be little stores, and literally like hole in the wall, somebody's garage. We used to go to Retropolis, Retropolis, in Lakewood to get stuff because you couldn't find it anywhere else.
Yeah. You know what? Actually, speaking of Star Trek, we discovered something pretty wild. Why is Captain Picard in this? Why is he here? You mentioned it to me offhand, and I was listening, and I was like, I can't unhear it now. Why is he here?
You really can't either. So he's like the elder, wandering wise man in this movie. And I'm listening to it, and it's just like, my ears perk up because, like, no, that can't possibly, but it also can't not be, because that voice is really distinctive. And even, like, you couldn't put the name on it, you couldn't put your finger on it, but you could tell. You were looking like, I know, yeah, but I can't, and then I dropped it on you.
Yeah, you paused and you went through on IMDb and was like looking at all the actors, and just
this got an amazing cast. But also, this is, like you said, it's 1984, and Star Trek: The Next Generation is 1987.
It's insane to think that he's doing this before he jumps on board with that.
So he's nobody at this point.
Yeah,
he's absolutely nobody. Now there are actually. 1984. Jodie Benson is nobody. She was the mother in this. And that's The Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
But The Little Mermaid has not come out yet. The Little Mermaid is not... We haven't even hit the Disney Renaissance yet.
Really?
We are in the Dark Ages here.
That's insane that this came first, question mark? Like, how...
Tress MacNeille is... Tress MacNeille is not nobody. Tress MacNeille is the Lady of 1,000 Voices. But The Simpsons is still another 5 years away.
That's crazy.
I think Miami Vice is on at this point. So Edward James Olmos. Yeah, seriously. He's another one of the voices, another one of the major ones. Mark Hamill's in this, and I didn't catch it. 84. Return of the Jedi is 1983.
Oh, I don't know.
He is
Star Wars.
fresh off of Star Wars. He is fresh off of the last Star Wars movie.
Who did he play in Star Wars?
That's Luke Skywalker.
Oh, I feel like I should have known that.
Maybe, but I mean, you've probably heard his voice more in animation because he has made a massive career in animation. But this has got to be early. This has got to be one of those first things that he's doing. Shia LaBeouf is in this, and you don't know him, but
I know the name.
He was the hottest thing for about 5 minutes in the very early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got to be a child. I mean, I'm amazed at this cast and how many of these people went on to do something much, much bigger.
Well, voice actors aside, because we were talking about the Ohm before.
Mm-hmm. Actually, can we talk a little bit about like what the plot might be? Because it's hard.
Oh, okay. So let me see if I can figure out a way to describe this. Let me see if I can figure out a way to describe this. Essentially, we have Nausica. She is a princess living in this like Valley of the Wind. She's got a bunch of people there. They kind of like live on this farmland-esque area. You've got this forest, which is like this poisonous area with overrun with monsters and such. And Nausica, her whole kind of thing is she's figuring out ways to calm these creatures, to send them away when they start to rampage.
These giant pill bugs, yeah.
Yeah,
these giant own pill bugs.
Like these creatures, they're getting angry when the humans are destroying their habitat, when they are like provoking them, and she's like, "Come on, friend, let's not do this. Let's use nice hands and walk away, please." And she's literally using those gentle parenting teaches.
hands. Which one's the nice one?
Yeah, she goes off for a little bit, gets kidnapped, taken hostage, I suppose, temporarily.
Because we have other kingdoms as well, and
Yeah.
other cultures. This is not the valley. The valley dwellers are not the only ones out there. There's other kingdoms. One of them's led by evil Tila.
Yeah,
and
she looks so much like Tila.
It really is. It's like, what if Tila was done anime? And this is right at that time, too. 84 is He-Man. So that...
There might have been some inspiration there, I bet.
The design and those colors and that feel, it's definitely in the zeitgeist. She's the evil queen leading the tank people. And then... Then there's others that are just more at tune with nature and just different parts of the forest. Forest is poison.
Yeah.
The water is acid.
Yeah, like the water is acid, the water is poison, the air is poisonous, and they really make it a point that like they wear masks anytime they're not like specifically in the valley or specifically like above the clouds. Anywhere around that forest is so polluted, it's so poisonous that it can kill you. Like it's.
And then underneath it, there's a whole nother world underneath the forest.
Yeah,
cracked in between into the Earth's surface. I mean,
like the trees from the roots down, like they're purifying the area down there, and then they're like turning into sand. I think that they explained.
And once you get into some of this, because this reminds me a great deal of Castle in the Sky, where every time we walk into another environment and a new environment, it just gets freakier and more wild and more fantastic than the last.
And, speaking of Castle in the Sky, there's theories that Castle in the Sky is a sequel to this movie.
I was wondering if it is the same world. Now, because we noticed one of the same little wee beasties.
Yeah, one of the same little... the fox squirrel, on top of one of the stone giants in Castle in the Sky. We discussed this when we originally did that podcast. Mm-hmm. But...
And, it looks like a Pokemon to me. It looks like...
It's
like a Jolteon?
I love him so much. I think I spent at least most of my time in this movie caring less about Nausica herself. I'm just watching the cute little creature. Like, I want you. I want you. You are my friend now. He's so fluffy, and he's... I love cute animals.
But, yes, the fact that we start seeing these things again in Castle in the Sky. And one of the other things we see, a theme that seems to kind of run all through Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, is these airships, these gliders especially.
Yeah.
And it's not too far of a leap in either direction. That maybe these were leftover technology, or that this technology has been
specifically designed
ramped
for
up
here
and advanced by the time that we hit Castle in the Sky. It's like I almost wonder if this could be in the same continuity, but would Castle in the Sky be before this or after it?
I think it's after. At least I think that's what the theories online state. Let me check.
The other thing that would be possible if you really wanted to do this. We could absolutely be walking into this world in Howl's Moving Castle as well. Even if it's not like the world that Howl's from, it could absolutely be one of the doors that he goes through.
You know what? You're right. Man, it's because it's like we get to see like all over there. I almost think Howl's would have to take place a little bit later with the revelation.
And I wouldn't want to place it, but the fact that it could actually still exist somewhere there.
Or maybe even before, like before we get all the
in
pollution.
the world before, yeah.
That would make sense, especially with like all like
yes,
the magic.
because Howl
and
feels
such.
more like it's late 1800s to me.
Yeah, late 1800s, very much like industrial. They really lean into the steampunk idea for it. So, but that might just be a whole thing of the style of that one.
But you were looking to see if you could figure out whether or not this would be before Castle in the Sky or after it. What did you find?
Okay, so what I did somewhat find is that Castle in the Sky is possibly a prequel to it. So it would take place a long time before Nausica.
And that would make sense, too. Like I said, the gliders could be descended from some of that technology, especially with what the gang was riding on.
Yeah, because, like, beforehand, she's the only one that has a glider. We don't see anybody else get gliders till the end of the movie. So I can definitely kind of see where that could be coming from.
And at the end, we get a whole rebuilding sequence. I mean, it's kind of like watching The Walking Dead rebuild society.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of the society, I really loved watching how they differentiated the different groups of people in this. Particularly, I kept looking at all the head coverings that everybody was wearing. And it makes sense to me to wear them like when you're up in the airship or when you're up in there. But especially the women in particular had different styles of head coverings, which was, I don't know. I find that is an interesting way to differentiate them. It's a great world building tactic. I don't know. Something about that really does speak to me.
Let's talk a little bit about Nausica herself, too, because she kind of reminds me a little bit of Mau Mau from Apothecary Diaries, in that she's into this forbidden stuff. She's talking to the forbidden animals. She's growing plants and stuff like that in her secret hideout. And, you know, the forbidden plants and the stuff. Well, this is poison, but we're seeing what we can do with it.
Yeah.
There's some themes there that just felt very similar to me.
She was very much experimental. Like, she took a bunch of plants from the poisonous forest and replanted them in good dirt. And the plants aren't poisonous anymore. She is actively experimenting, trying to figure out, okay, what can we do to fix this? She is very much a mediator between her and the animals, with her and the forest. She's the one protecting it, which I guess kind of pulls back into Miyazaki and his whole thing of we gotta work with nature, not against it.
So there's also, we keep talking about this is 1984, and I will admit this, the music feels very 1984. There's moments where we get this big synthy score.
I was gonna say, like, almost like the synthy, like, techno really caught me off guard at points at this. I was like, what?
Like, this technology is new about this time. So it's really popular, especially with films that don't have a budget. And so they can't afford to bring in an orchestral score. They can't afford a 30-piece orchestra and a conductor, but they can afford a guy in his basement with a synthesizer doing multi-tracks and putting something around. And again, this comes back to some of my horror roots, because you see a lot of this in horror movies and in sci-fi as well. John Carpenter, who did the Halloween films and also did Prince of Darkness, that was the one in the church with the evil vat of like liquid green Satan in there. Like, John Carpenter is a legend, but one of the things that he would do besides direct movies, he would do his own score.
Oh, good for him.
He would play his own music. So he had his synthesizers. He did a comeback tour, actually, probably about 10 years ago. And it's just a concert tour where he's playing the music from his movies, the music that he composed and that he created. So it's one of those things that does date it, but it's a nice sort of dating. Although it's weird, too, that at the end, the score, you'd almost expect it to swell up and give you this big, triumphant, punch the air moment. And it doesn't. It's very level.
It doesn't.
It's
because our story's not over. We're still living among these creatures. We're still trying to survive in this poisonous world.
I mean, we get our sacrifice, we get our redemption, but the music fails to tell us that this is the end of the movie. We were both surprised when the credits roll because
it's like,
those
what?
cues that we're looking for, they just weren't there. It's weird the way that ends.
That tends to be the case in a lot of his movies, though. I'm always caught off guard by the ending of his stuff. Which, speaking of which, I want to talk about the animation and some of the, like, honestly, the art style in this very much reminds me of, like, the classic Danganronpa games.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what it is. There's just, it clicked in that for me when we started watching through.
Well, one thing you kept pointing out to me was how the background characters were a little cartoony.
They were. Like,
I feel, though, like that's, again, we're coming back to, it's 1984.
yeah.
And so if you watch Galaxy Express 3.9, there's a lot of very cartoony-looking characters in the background. You know what? Even if you start watching for it when we're watching Robotech, you'll start seeing it. The mayor. The mayor is practically a Smurf in Robotech. He's this short guy with the big eyes and the comically bald pate, and it's so I think that's a style that's, again, it's dating it more than anything else.
Yes, and I mean more so, like, even aside, like, characters aside, some of the backgrounds in this are, like, I was comparing it a lot to Somali and the Forest Spirit. We watched through that a while back. A lot of the, like, the prettier scenes of the forest we get. But particularly one thing that really stood out to me. Do you remember that scene when we were, like, trapped underground in the cave?
Yeah.
So I was looking at that, and it looks very crystallized. And immediately, I'm thinking of this. I am handing him my phone, which has a picture of Attack on Titan, specifically in the underground cave system where they get, like, changed, yada, yada, yada. I'm instantly comparing a lot of the visual stuff to this. And I'm wondering if, like, it might have influenced, like, because, like, look at the crystals on these. It's, like, literally, I don't have a good way to
see. I'm looking at that. I'm thinking more Krypton. I'm thinking Superman. I'm thinking Argo City. These ice castles, these ice fortresses. So that's what immediately comes to mind for me. But it wouldn't surprise me at all to see, because all of this stuff, all of the Studio Ghibli stuff, really, it reads into the stuff that comes afterwards. Yeah. Everybody seems to pull. Miyazaki's
a fanboy. He likes a lot of that kind of fun stuff. So it's very much like, I love seeing the comparisons. I love seeing the stuff there. The other thing that just annoyed me is that, particularly early on when we see the windmills and they're, like, spinning, they're off center. They're not spinning correctly. They are off center, and it bothers me so much.
See, I barely even noticed the windmills are there because there's so much of this scenery, much of these backgrounds where it's almost incomprehensible.
I feel like we would have needed more with, in this setting.
I don't always know what I'm looking at.
Yeah, they try to go and explain things occasionally, like where we are, where we're headed, but a lot of the times she's on 1 minute, she's flying on her glider, the next minute we're in the middle of a forest.
Yeah, it's just hang on and enjoy this ride.
Yeah, and man.
Yeah, because I'm out.
Let's talk about some of the ships for this place, because I'm not usually a huge, looking at all, like, the armor and stuff, but some of these ships were fascinating. They were able to, like, she was able to connect her glider to some of these as she would, like, trail behind them.
Things are modular, yes.
These ships, they are able to pull their wings in and out. And I'm not talking pull in like an airplane's wings. I'm talking twist in, twist out. Not quite bird-like, but they're able to literally, like, launch themselves in the air. They're able to kind of twist and turn in order to move in here. I really do like seeing the designs of some of the innards. At the end of it, she literally just, like, she's, like, in the back seat of this one thing as her glider's, like, flying behind them. She rips off a something from inside the ship and then uses it to slide back to her glider. Are we sure that's not important? Because I'm kind of worried that we're going to fall and then you're gonna rip up something kind of important, then we're gonna crash.
I come back to Castle in the Sky with that, though. Like, they're up in the crow's nest of the big pirate ship.
That was terrifying.
And then it flies off on its own. Between the ship designs and the world designs, these backgrounds and these creatures, I mean, there is such a bold, innovative visual language here, design language going on here. And I feel like it's something that we just don't see any longer. Nobody's willing to take the chances to create something this out there, even in the modern anime that you watch.
Yeah, to be fair, I've been going through a lot of weird stuff. Right now I'm watching through, like, something code something. It's a really fascinating show, but I almost wonder if some of that influences the fact that Castle in the Sky comes literally a year after this. It's literally 1984 to 1985. And then, like, 2 years after that, we get My Neighbor Totoro. So I'm wondering if, like, reusing some assets or maybe even, like, reusing some of that animating style maybe plays into that somewhat.
Or maybe some designs and some stuff that just wasn't... that never got made it into the film. Yeah. So unused designs, unused ideas.
Yeah, and I don't know. There is something truly fascinating about the world in this. I wish we had gotten to spend more time in it. Mm-hmm. I would love maybe a series about this as we see her maybe going to it and trying to figure out what's going on with the forest, maybe learning more about the past and humanity and such. I think this would have worked better as a series than a movie.
Well, I mean, it is a series. It's a series of manga, and the manga stories went on for like 10 years.
Oh, wow.
This is not and a lot of it comes after this. So this is not just a one-off story. I've got a couple of them around here somewhere buried in the library, and I'll have to dig some of those out. But if you want more on that, then this is where you got to go to the book. And and like I said, there is so much more. I mean, there's really a ton more.
You've read the book?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
I just
okay.
know from my research. This is not like Grave of the Fireflies, where it's based on a novella. This is not like Howl's Moving Castle, where, okay, there's a novel and a follow-up novel that we never really get in. This is a long-form storytelling that they've just plucked a segment out of.
Yeah, I would say maybe that explains why this feels so rushed, or why we haven't really gotten to know any of the locations here.
And it absolutely could be. It also could be, I don't know how much of that story was written by the time this came out.
That's true.
So
we don't know how many books had released at that point.
It goes on. And that's the big thing. It goes on. So there really is more for you to explore.
Yeah.
There's a couple of different places you can find stuff online, or we can look into maybe finding... there's got to be collections. I think that's really where to go from here. I think you need to jump off and... and look into it more. Maybe we will recap this, revisit some of this later on.
Yeah, I definitely think that that's a good idea if we happen to find anything else interesting. But I do think that that's everything that we have to say about Nausica and the Valley of the Wind. We will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching.
Yep.
Bye.